Shana Tova, everyone. Welcome to this historic moment of being able to have Temple Bethel welcoming the Jewish Collaborative of Orange County and the opportunity to be your service guides with my dear friend and colleague, Rabbi Cantor Marcia Tilchin, and incredible musical support, Jason Fetty and Ron Livy and Evan and Wool and Lonnie T. We're really looking forward to a really meaningful High Holy Day season. All of us are coming to this moment with so much going on in our world, right in the middle of a war in Israel, and in our own lives, both great joys and struggles and difficulties. And we really draw on the strength of being with each other and the strength of our tradition to help guide us to how do we approach and move into this year in a way that is loving and embracing and strong and connected. We gather together today with a certain anticipation that comes with the potential for new beginning for us. While the beginning of the High Holy Day period began 1 month ago with the new moon of the preceding month of Elul, it's tonight that this sacred time really becomes high, like the High Holy Days. Living in this country, it's easy to associate this sacred time with New Year's, right? A time for resolutions and starting over. And while the rabbis did call this day Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year for various reasons, the Torah had a vision of this sacred time that is much deeper and much more mysterious. In the Torah, the day is not referred to as the new year or the celebration of creation. It's called the first of the 7th month, and it's called Yom Teruah, the day of the specific shofar call that we know as 9 quick repetitive blasts. The first place in the Torah where the sound of the shofar is referred to is in the revelation of God's presence at Mount Sinai. In that section, the experience of God's presence is referred to as kol shofar, the voice of the shofar, 3 times. Later in the books of Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers, the truah sound of the shofar is used to either signal the people to move from place to place, or it was to get them ready for war, while the long blast, the tekiyah, is used to gather them. It was the shofar that was used in all of these circumstances because it reminded the people of that essential experience at Mount Sinai. Whether they needed to move into the unknown or engage in the uncertainty of battle, the truah was meant to recreate that deep awareness that God was with them. And I think all of us need that deep awareness. This Rosh Hashanah, I want to focus on the Torah's vision of the day as Yom Teruah, not just the blast of the shofar that we'll hear tomorrow, but that Mount Sinai moment. That radical acceptance of God's presence in our moment-to-moment experience. And I say radical because many of us live in a daze most of the time. And the daze is one where we're lost in our plans and our desires and our fears. And it's a rare moment when we're touched deeply by sacred presence. Our story as a people, from the leaving of slavery in Egypt to the cusp of the promised land, is a deep archetypal template for spiritual awakening and living deeper lives of meaning and purpose. As the story goes, when the people received that first set of tablets, which is usually associated with the holiday of Shavuot, they didn't internalize that experience of God's presence. Because as soon as Moses was gone up the mountain too long, they erected the golden calf to worship this in place of God. And then Shavuot is called Zman Matan Toratenu, the time of the giving of the Torah, not the time of the accepting of the Torah. God gave a gift, God's presence through the Torah, but the people didn't really accept it as their reality. The relationship was ruptured, and Moses went back up the mountain to pray for the people for 40 days, this whole previous month of Elul. And the people did their own soul searching. If this reality and relationship with God was something that they were willing to reorient their lives around. Today, Yom Teruah is the full acceptance of reality of God as the deepest and highest dimension of our lives. It's a day of our commitment to that relationship, and it's a willingness to open to that in every possible moment. When the people were really ready to truly receive and accept, then God, through Moses, could give them the second tablets and renew the relationship that happens on Yom Kippur. Much of the time, our difficulty in relationships is because the other person is sharing their truth with us, and we're not willing to truly hear or accept their reality because of its implications for us. If we want to stay in relationship with them, then taking their perspective seriously means that we may have to do things differently. Only when we make our relationship with them the most important thing, and then change our way of doing things to honor that reality, then we can stay close and connected. When we say the blessing over the shofar, we bless God for the mitzvah of listening to the shofar, not blowing the shofar, but hearing it. Today is the day that we focus on hearing the reality of God's presence in our lives and making the necessary changes to accommodate for that reality. And I want to just encourage us, all of us have these different relationships to this word God. On one hand, it's just a word, and we may have lots of images and pictures that we have inherited as somewhere out here. But I think each one of us knows intuitively that there's this place of connection and realness and truth and goodness that we want to orient our lives around. And that's what we're talking about.